Hello, chaps. It's still Tuesday. It's still the 3rd of January. I'm back again, sorry. Right, I just did a hanging hair test on 3 different razors. In total, I did 5 razors yesterday and today. Rehoned them to 20k. I thought you might like this little test as much as I'm going to enjoy it. Because they're all different razors, so they're all different steels, but they've all had exactly the same edge put on them in exactly the same stone progression. So depending on the state of them, obviously they've gone from 3k because one of them had some nicks in the blade, in the edge, and obviously if it's got faults on the edge, you've got to take it down to either 1k or 3k, depending on the severity of the nicks, I guess. In my case, they weren't too bad, but they were horrible. Still, you couldn't shave with it. So they've all been rehoned, ranging, as I say, from 1 or 3k right to 10k. One of them I only put on a 10k because I just wanted to alter the edge to a synthetic edge. And I thought it would be very interesting. I'm not saying necessarily very informative, but very interesting to try all 4 razors from different periods and different steels, but all now with exactly the same edge, all with 20k Suehiro edges on. So the one I tested just now was a small 5/8 bokeh with absolutely gorgeous scales on it. Very, very pretty. Some form of very early plastic, probably a celluloid, but she's a proper bokeh. It's in very good condition. It's only a 5/8, so I'm not very keen on 5/8, but anyway, I'll try this one first. It passed the hanging hair test very, very well, so let's see how it actually does on bristle. Yeah, lovely, delicate little blade. I'm used to choppers. This is a lovely, light little blade. Sharp, bloody hell. Doesn't require... Oh, listen to that. No pressure at all. A little bit more pressure on the moustache, but a little bit hesitant on the chin edge. But then I've got notoriously wiry stubble. I always think of those old Popeye cartoons, a bit of a Bluto type stubble. But anyway, even though it's mostly grey, it's bloody tough. It's old barbed wire. Anyway, that was very nice. But as a comparison, this is my old short blade Philharmonica. It's shortened blade. This is how I got it. Instead of being a full 25mm, it's about 22mm. This one has been used on many experiments though. The difference is it's a series 1. As you can see by the address, the curved address, series 1. So it's bloody early. And being early, we'll see how it performs. I would say it's probably more or less the same period, give or take a decade, as that little bokeh. But of course this is going to be of a different steel. These S1 Series 1 fillies are supremely good. But this is a short one. Yeah, that's nice. That's back to how it should be. This one's been a test bed for quite a few different finishes. It's had super curved concave by 2 different wonderful people. It had a concave edge put on by Gary. It had a concave edge put on by Boris. It wasn't terribly happy. I had put before that a JNAT edge on it. which again was sort of all right, but you know, it wasn't sparkling. From what I've seen so far, the king of the edges at the moment probably is still a synthetic. If a synthetic edge is too grabby, too sharp, then of course you can always tone it down by putting an Arkansas edge or a Japanese natural stone edge on. This and the little bokeh, about the same, I would say. Difficult to be too objective about it. These tests are obviously very subjective, but bearing in mind, I ain't no expert, and I would honestly say I'm always going to use pretty much the same method. So I think they're fairly impartial tests. I've no axe to grind as far as partiality goes, and that includes on the modern razors as well. Now, right, here's the exciting bit. Aha! Oh, one more. Oh God. Sorry, one more. This one is an old Sheffield. It's a Joseph Elliott, and it's a silver steel. It's got favourite etched on the blade. This one has had the living hell honed out of it in the past. It was quite a job putting this one right. The geometry was all over the place. It took me ages and ages, but I thought it was worth it for the simple reason it was a gift from Hisham, my friend and barber. And so I thought, yeah, okay, let's give it a go. Let's see how this one performs. Now this one is not very hollow at all. In fact, it's got hardly any hollow grind left in it. You could be generous and call it a half hollow, but it's nearer to a wedge. Wow. Do you know what? That is really cutting well, making no noise at all. I'll be. Do you know, it hasn't got any flexibility in this blade at all. So if you're looking for a nice, kind, flexible blade, which I prefer, you won't get it with this one. I'm not used to having a non-flexing blade. Yeah, this one at most is a half hollow. It might even be a quarter hollow, which are an anathema to me. I don't like super rigid. I tend to find that I cut myself if I've got a wedge, a really bad wedge, or in this case a quarter hollow, because you don't get the feedback. So although it's blisteringly sharp, I don't like it. So this one's up for grabs, anybody that wants it. You're not supposed to give away gifts, this was a gift, but I don't want it. Even though, as you can tell, it's got a really high polish. It's an original early-ish 1920s, 1930s, whatever. But I don't like it. Right, so far we've knocked that one out of the competition. Now let's get to the main feature. We'll go with one of the prettiest, best razors ever made. This is a Palmera, a special. She's a full 8/8, so it's a full 14. It's got the faint address on this one, but it's still the Juan Valmari. These razors are easily as good as Philharmonica. In fact, some wiser heads than me have said some Phillies aren't as good as Palmera, and obviously some Palmeras aren't as good as Philly. They made the usual fairly decent range, but this one I decided, as it had a little bit of a blunt area on the nose, it wasn't HHTing very well on the nose, so I thought, no, we need to the toe, so we need to get it right. Let's see how it does now. Oh, that's lovely. Rings like a bell. Yeah, that's very, very nice. As I expected. It seems to have been cured of its reticence. Yeah, the toe is definitely okay now. It was cutting well beforehand. It was just, there's well and then there's well. The only thing is, it is pretty uncomfortably sharp. A little tiny bit, not grabby, but just strange. Good. I mean, it's still a Rolls Royce amongst razors, but here's the final test. Let's try it finally against the River Razor. Now, the River Razor 14, I was very lucky to get from Boris de Rivera, and it's unusual because the steel is one of these lovely ultra modern steels. And when I was HHT testing it, it confounded me somewhat because straight off the stones, it was passing the hanging hair test in both directions. That's pretty much unheard of. Once it's been stropped, it was about the same. It was obviously very, very good, but not hugely better. Let's try it now against the grain. Oh yeah. I've got a little tiny weeper from the Palmera. That Palmera is a little bit too sharp. This is far superior. Listen to that. Oh gosh, that is beautiful. Well done, Boris. I don't know what he does with the tempering process, but it's obviously extremely well tempered. Yeah. To be able to beat, and as I say, it's exactly the same. It's a 20k. It's a 20k edge. There's about 2.5 days growth of stubble. But to be able to beat a Palmera, a special, which is $1,000 razor. Yeah. Yeah, it's lovely. Gentle. Now that's the strange thing. They've all got 20k edges, but here's the big but. This is cutting gently. Extremely sharp, but gentle. How strange. So, in total, we've had five razors, and I would say, I'm not an expert as I say, but I would say, yeah, this River razor is definitely the best. All different periods. So the English one, a quarter hollow, I don't like. The others are all full hollows. The little Boker's a full hollow. Where's the little Boker gone? There he is. Look at the difference in size.